Okay. Morning, guys. Bill Amadeo. It is 10 a.m. on June 27th, 2020. Got a few things to talk about. Some people asked me to do a Facebook Live over some recent events, so I agreed to do it this morning. I actually came to the office early today to get some busy work done, but obviously there's some issues that just need addressing that will take priority over any busy work I have to do. So I'll push things back because these issues are critical. We're going to talk about Sycamore Meadows. We're going to talk about the comments made by the Birmingham attorney. We're going to talk about the Westland tragedy. And, you know, I don't really know how to make sense of some of these things, but here we are. So let me start by thanking a few people that have been in the battle lines on these issues. I want to thank Trisha Duckworth, who's been the leader of Survivors Speak, and she led the protest at Sycamore Meadows yesterday. Trovius Starr, my co-counsel on the Grady case. We've made a lot of progress on Shatina's case. That will be discussed, but we are moving in the right direction. That's what I could say right now. Ethan Cantor, who's been a warrior out there every day. Minister Edward Pruitt. My good friend Nate Frazier from Heart to Hearts. Minister Malik Shabazz in Detroit. And I'm sure there's many that I have not mentioned right now, but I just want to throw a few names that were on the tip of my tongue because these are people I've been in contact with on a daily basis. And they're all doing a lot of great work right now. But let's start with the Sycamore Meadows situation. Okay. So the Washtenaw Sheriff's Department released a video on YouTube basically saying how they're doing a great job. And then they followed up how they have nothing to do with these evictions. So let's start with the evictions. Number one, nobody can even be evicted right now. Governor Whitmer put a moratorium to July 15th. That's number one. Number two, nothing has been filed in the court. There's no summons, there's no complaint. So let's start with that we have a scare tactic being used right now. What the apartment complex did when they handed out these notices was try to scare people to just leave their apartments. So I encourage you not to leave your apartments. And I would also encourage you to talk to management if you want and record them. And I want to bring you to the office. Anybody at Sycamore Meadows that is going to potentially be evicted because of this bullshit with Washtenaw County Sheriff's Department stirring things up, I will defend them. I will take the case. I will not charge you. You do not have to be scared right now. Understand that, guys. Because I know there were tenants that contacted Trisha Duckworth that said they were scared to protest. No reason to be scared. They want a war? Give them a war. It's real simple. They have to serve you. They'll probably engage a lawyer. When you get served, we'll go to court. We'll ask for jury trials. We'll put the rent in escrow. We'll make their life a living hell. It's really that simple. You know, when I watched the YouTube video from the Washtenaw Sheriff's Department, and I'm really trying to be objective here, guys. I really am. Because I'm amazed what has happened with me and the Washtenaw Sheriff's Department and the Washtenaw County Prosecutor's Office, and again with the Prosecutor's Office. I don't have a problem with everybody over there. I got a problem with three people. One of them's Brian Mackey. Got a real problem with Brian Mackey because of 28 years of bullshit and things that I'm just learning about. So, yeah, Mackey, if you're watching, I got a problem with you. You quote me on that. There's two other APAs, and I'll leave them out of it for now. But they've made people's lives hell, and I definitely want to go after them. I'm not going to pull any punches there. There's some really good prosecutors over there, and I feel bad, but we are just on different sides of the issue. As far as that sheriff's department goes, on the video, which was their, I don't know, their PR video, if you would, where they brag about doing things so great, they're telling people to go into the house, and there's noise complaints. And it's funny. Last night I was walking outside my house in the suburbs, put my headphones on, and there were people, white people, hanging out, having a beer, eating barbecue, joking with their loved ones. Not one cop came by. I see the same thing happening at Sycamore Letos, and they're being told to go into the house. And I told this to Kim Russell. It's not just racism, it's socio-economic bias going on right now. If you live in low income housing, you deserve the same rights as the people in the suburbs. If you're not committing a crime and you're hanging outside of your porch, the sheriff's department has no right to tell you to go into your house. And the people complied. And the sheriff's department says how we get along so great with the people of Sycamore Meadows. Okay, here's a news flash for you. Sheriff Clayton, if you're watching this, they're scared you're going to arrest them for no reason. They don't like you. They're scared you're going to abuse your authority. So we understand one another here. They didn't comply because they had so much respect for your authority. They complied because they didn't want to face a misdemeanor or a felony for resisting an officer's order, which could be issued by the Washtenaw County Prosecutor's Office. Do we understand each other there? This was not about them liking you. It's not like, guys, it's fear. They're scared. They're in low-income housing. They're being threatened they're going to be kicked out while there's a moratorium on evictions. And then your officers come by and ask them to go into the house. Yeah, some of them complied. They're scared they're going to end up in the judicial system for doing nothing wrong. That's a culture you created. Okay, so it's a culture our side is trying to fix. So let's quit the bullshit that the sheriff's department and the residents of Sycamore Meadows are best friends. Sycamore Meadows is concerned that the sheriff's department will violate their rights. There's no reason for these people to be harassed. And as far as the landlord, if you try to evict these tenants, you better be ready. We will take every goddamn case to a jury trial. And here's a newsflash. Jury trials might not happen right away. All you did is create unrest to people that are trying to raise their lives and do good things in the community. So, shame on you for that, but they're going to have legal representation. Know that moving forward. Okay. Now, let's talk about the Birmingham lawyer. I don't even know what to say. Um, the comments that were made on social media by this scumbag. First of all, as a white man, let me apologize on behalf of this piece of shit. I don't know what's more horrifying. The fact that this idiot made actually believes this, or the fact that he actually was dumb enough to post on Facebook his thoughts and belief. Wow. And, if you're an officer of the court, you got to really look at this situation. With everything going on, with these powder kegs going on right now, this guy felt comfortable enough to make this comment. I'm not going to repeat the comment. It's on my Facebook page. Knock yourself out. Story was picked up by WXYZ. And Dalen Hanna, a Birmingham collections attorney, made horrifying comments and then said how he was taken out of context. I don't know how that could be taken out of context. There was nothing vague about what you said. You're a disgrace. You shouldn't be a lawyer. You need to find another profession. I don't know. You're upset that you're getting bad Google reviews. What do you expect? This is history right now. You're either going to be on the right side of history or the wrong side of history. And you chose to be on the other side. Okay, live with it. The fact that he is a Cooley alum, where I went to law school, is just, it's heartbreaking. Here's a guy in Birmingham, which is an affluent area, who probably has never suffered one day of what the members of Sycamore Meadows go through every day. And he took to Facebook and he made a hurtful comment. Read what he said. You make the decision. And going back to the Washtenaw County Prosecutor's Office briefly, because people are going to say, well, you mentioned this guy's name, but you're not mentioning those APA's names. There's a small part of me that is hoping the two APAs I have such anger and hostility for still go around and do the right thing. I'm not counting on it. I'm ready to go to war with them. But in fairness to them, the reason why their names are not mentioned right now, because it may be coming, the reasons why their names are not mentioned right now and this piece of shit's name is mentioned is because he actually wrote something on Facebook, opened himself up. I'm disgusted with a lot of people right now, but you can't come back from that, man. You just can't come back from that. I don't know how you look yourself in the mirror saying those things, but you cannot come back from that comment. Disgraceful. The Westland situation, and I'll mention Pastor Edward Pruitt, who's quickly becoming a friend of mine, is leading the charge out there, and we saw what that officer did to a man with autism. They being the Westland Police Department and the officer that did the beating, accused this black man with mental disabilities of committing an armed robbery. And they beat him. No weapon found. And the case is under investigation. So here's my question. When the officer accused this man of committing an armed robbery and beat him nearly to death. What evidence did they have? I'm going to guess from my experience. The alleged defendant that committed the armed robbery was a black man about his size. Good enough for the cop to almost kill him, right? You know, this job has amazing highs and tragic lows. This week, I had 4 cases dismissed. One was a capital case where the guy was facing life in prison. 2 were 15-year felonies. One was a 10-year felony. And professionally, that was an amazing week. You just don't get results like that. But I'll tell you, I couldn't even enjoy one moment of it. The clients are happy, and that means the world to me. But everywhere I turned, I go win a case, get a case dismissed, whatever, and then I get a text message. Sycamore Meadows is threatening to evict people. This poor guy with autism in Westland's getting beat. It's not ending. People are saying this will all be calm when things get back to normal. Are things ever going to be back to normal? And what's your definition of normal? When I saw the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Officer nearly kill Shatina Grady, and I watch it every night before I go to bed. When I see Dan get tased, it just changed the way I looked at everything. And these issues just continue to grow. You know, I went to law school at Cooley, and I would say that Cooley and I have not had the best of relationships. I don't really think they embrace lawyers that excel in criminal defense. That's my opinion on things from my experience with the administration. And I reached out to somebody at Cooley a couple days ago, and I said, whatever issues we may have personally, we're in historic times. The world's watching, and you guys really need to do something as an institution to say we're against what's going on, more than what you're doing. And nobody contacted me back on that. I think a lot of universities are trying to hide from these issues. And I think a lot of schools are trying to think that this is just going to go away. Okay. Guys, these issues are not going away. These issues have been going on for far too long. The only reason we even know about some of these issues are because of advancements in technology. I am horrified to think what happened in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. What wasn't captured on tape? We can't fix the past, but we sure as hell have an obligation to protect the future. This has to stop. Every protest we've been involved in has been peaceful. We're asking for communication. You know, and for the Washtenaw County Sheriff's Department to say that things are great, what happened to my client on May 26th has not stopped you from harassing people on June 4th. You can't tell people to go inside their house and not enjoy their freedom when they have not committed a crime. And for Brian Mackey, let me be real clear. Yes, you did not charge the Grady's with the ridiculous charges that were requested. You didn't dismiss them either, did you, Brian? You passed it off to the Attorney General. And you're retiring. You don't even have a political excuse not to do the right thing. If you really wanted to do the right thing, you would not be authorizing charges every time a white person says something happened with no evidence. We can't charge people without evidence. We cannot just take someone's word and say, good enough for us, we're charging them. Because once you charge somebody, their life is never the same. When I win a case and I stick it up your ass, their life is still affected. Do you get that? And you walk away like you're playing with house money. Doesn't matter to you. Win or lose, your job's not affected. And that's a problem, isn't it? If you wanted to do the right thing in this case, you would have said, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Grady, we're not charging you. And we're sorry for what happened. You didn't do that. You passed the buck to the Attorney General. You got to remember something. The Sheriff's Department, their nice little YouTube videos. The officers that tased Dan Grady and nearly killed Shatina Grady-O are the same officers that requested charges against the victims. And as of 12:37 p.m., the day charges were to be rendered, and arraignment was scheduled for 1 p.m., it was going to go forward. It was at that point logic kicked in a little bit. And the prosecutors all of a sudden were going to further things. And all furthering meant was we're going to pass it off to the Attorney General. Washtenaw County, known as a big liberal community that's open-minded, we care, we're diverse. How is it possible 13.8% of Washtenaw County is black in population, yet 70% of criminal defendants in Washtenaw County are black? Where are we going wrong? Oh, man. Well, I guess it's business as usual right now, guys. I've always said when this process started, when talking to my friend John Estes, I don't know what it's like to be a black man. But I know we got to make things better for the black man and the black woman. And telling people to go in their house when they're not doing anything wrong and scaring them with eviction notices is not exactly what I call progress. And we see Dalen Hanna, a Birmingham lawyer, feel confident enough in his racism to post on social media the horrific things he did. I don't even know how to address that. All right. Well, we will prevail in this fight. And if you're against us, you're on the wrong side of history. And prevailing in this fight means winning cases in courts, getting plea deals done that protect victims from incarceration, working on better lines of communication, and stop empowering racists. Every time there is a crime that is charged without evidence, you are empowering racism. Every time a black victim is the victim of a crime with evidence and you don't charge, you are empowering racism. And every time you harass somebody because they live in a low-income home, you're empowering civil unrest. I plead with you, the prosecutor's office, the sheriff's department, Westland, I plead with you that we have to communicate with each other. Things are peaceful right now, and I hope they stay peaceful. And I'm preaching peace. But how much more brutality, how much more racism, how much more are people going to take and accept? We need to fix this. We need to fix it now. And if we don't, the alternative's not good. We're still preaching peace, but we need communication from both sides, and we're just not getting that right now. All right. Have a good weekend, guys.